Welcome to the Friends and Rivals podcast.
We drove through Florida through in Dayton. It been started there for sure. Oh my God, we got at a stop. I went to get coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, which is like part of a convenience store because it's one of those Dunkin' Donuts places. It's like that. The Dunkin' Donuts was behind, like in the inside of the gas station. Their employees were completely behind the plexiglass thing. Everything was good. They're all wearing masks. The gas station attendant, the person working behind the register, no mask. Every person in there not wearing a mask. There's like 12 people in this small place. And I'm like, I feel like this is a bad idea.
Where were you?
We stopped in Dayton when we were driving down.
Dayton, Florida?
Yeah, when we drove down, when we were down, when we saw you.
No, in New Jersey, where Selfie is.
Yeah, where's Dayton, Florida?
Daytona. Fuck me, I'm an idiot.
Let's talk Devils and Islanders. Let's talk Penguins and Rangers. But let's not talk about Flyers, because they're a bunch of fucks, which no one can deny.
Episode 18, Friends and Rivals coming. We are legal, boys. We are legal. It's the 18th episode. We can bang whoever we want. I'm your host, Tom Harkness. With me, as always, are
Stephen Wojtowicz.
Bill Fougere.
Nick Lurda.
Thanks, Nick. Bill, you said it really quick. Then Nick, we're still working on it. 18 episodes in, we're still working on the intro.
Don't expect it to get any better anytime
It's
soon.
never gonna get better. I mean, come on.
Well, what's better is Bill's audio tonight, because last episode he was on location looking at children at some middle school in middle of New Jersey.
Play hockey. You make it sound a little weird, don't you?
Yeah, he was at enough distance. It was okay.
Were you at a middle school?
Yes.
Were you watching children?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then what did I say that was so wrong?
No, but you're just implying that there was some kind of dirty thing about it, but I was just watching them play hockey.
I didn't imply anything. I just merely pointed out the fact that you're watching kids at a middle school. That's it.
Technicality Tom in the house.
I lose again.
As we speak, Rangers just went up 3-2 on the Capitals in the third period, so we will see how that rest of the game goes. Devils are still up 4-2 in Boston. So if you hear Steve scream the word fuck, or if I do the same, you will know why that happened, or scream in pure ecstasy. You will also know why. Penguins and Islanders are off this evening. They play tomorrow night.
Not playing each other.
No.
They played last night, and they're done. And that's a wrap on the season for the Penguins.
God.
Oh, so you guys, well, all right, good. We'll look for the season wrap up from you guys between the Isles and Pengs. Who won the series?
Penguins.
What was it 5-3 or was it?
Well, it depends on which way you're looking at it, right? But for the Penguins, it was 6-2, and for the Islanders, it wasn't 2-6. It's because there were a couple overtimes.
2-4-2. Okay.
Yeah, but basically 2-6 essentially. That's not good against Penguins.
Regardless, you're happy to see those fuckers not again in the regular season.
For sure.
I don't know why I said it like that.
Because it's true.
It is true.
Yeah, it absolutely is true. So, watching the Caps, thinking Alex Ovechkin, he's been on a tear as of late. He's got 18 goals in 30 games this year. He's 35 years old, has 724 goals on the season. Not counting tonight, he hasn't scored.
Whoa.
He hasn't scored yet.
So hold on, buddy. Hold on.
That is a tear.
You just said he's got 724 goals on the season.
No. He's got 18 goals on the season. 724 for the career. How's that? That better? Better?
Because the other way would be a little bit of a record.
I'm trying to do three things here. I'm trying to read off my stat sheet. I'm looking at the Ranger game. I'm focusing on you guys and co-hosting a podcast. I mean, who says man cannot multitask?
Well, you just proved men cannot multitask because you fucked it up.
Well, maybe we can't multitask past three things.
Okay.
All right. Maybe that's it.
Stop staring into Billy's beautiful eyes and just do the other three.
I can't help it. I mean, look at him. He's so dreamy.
It's just first thing you got right so far.
He's 35 years old, 724 goals in his career, 170 away from the magic number of 894. 35 years old, going to be 36 as the season starts next year. Needs to average 42.5 goals per season over the next 4 years in order to do it. To do it?
Yes.
Should
I answer first?
Yeah,
yes. Not only is he going to break Gretzky's record, he's going to break it by 100 goals, and he's going to score about 1,000. I think, before he wraps it up. That's my opinion. That guy is unstoppable. When you say he's been on a tear as of late, I think that's like the last 16 years. You mean of late? And I don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
I don't either. But I also smell a bet coming on, because I will take that bet. I think it's minus 1,000. I don't think he's going to get to the 1,000 mark. I think he's going to beat the record. I don't think he gets to 1,000. But regular season goals, not including playoffs or any of that international bullshit. 1,000 goals, regular season. You want the bet?
Crap, I was going to include when he was playing Pee Wee too. Shit.
No, can't do that. Well, I think you may have gotten there already.
No,
do that
it's
anyway.
very obvious that that we were talking about regular season goals. Yes, I am in for 1,000 regular season goals for Alex Ovechkin.
So, I mean, are we going to do your favorite topic of food, or do we want to do something else?
Well, do you want to do something else?
I don't know. Well, let's think about it.
Do we want to do your favorite topic of feet? Is this going to be some kind of a foot fetish bet?
Wait,
all right, so there you go.
Are you saying foot massage for me? That you got to give me a foot massage?
That's what you want.
How about?
I don't know. That might be gay. Hold on.
How about?
Let me stop. That might be a little bit.
How about it? If Tom is right, Bill has to take Tom to go get. They have to both get pedicures.
No winning this.
Ooh,
thing,
okay.
too.
Huh?
I don't want him to get a pedicure too. I want him just to watch.
All right, then he's got to watch.
He's got to go there and pay.
That's even better for me, actually, because then I don't have to pay for 2 pedicures.
I feel like Bill would not necessarily look forward to getting a pedicure.
Well, that's accurate.
All right, this is turning into really homosexual talk. Bill, do you like your feet ticklish? I mean, I can't believe I've known you for so long and don't know the answer to this already.
Yes, they are. Yeah, in fact, I'm not a fan of being touched pretty much at all. So, yeah.
All right. Well, then I take it back. You have to get one with me.
Okay.
So that
would not be enjoyable for you. So
you have to have eye contact the entire time.
The entire time with Mrs. Chang. I don't care what her name is. You got to keep eye contact with her.
No, with you, Tom.
No, you both have to. You have to have eye contact with him.
I can you do it without ejaculating, Bill?
I haven't tried yet. It's a good question.
Because I'm gonna do some pretty outlandish shit, man. I gotta tell you.
Well, I'll be ready. I'll try to abstain for a couple of weeks beforehand just to make sure that I'm good and ready for it.
All right. So if Ovi does get to the 1,000, what do you want? Something along the comparable to that.
Well, nothing like put me on the spot. I don't know.
It's not like you're just choosing a place to have lunch. At least this bet's interesting.
I know. Yeah, but I gotta.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that and come back. We'll come back to that later in the show.
1,000 goals is a lot of goals, so you gotta make it it's gotta be a top shelf.
It's gotta be pretty big.
Yeah, I give that some thought.
Wow, how much does a pedicure cost nowadays? I have no idea.
You're gonna take me to Cinderella's castle.
Ooh.
Disney World, baby.
That's great.
All right.
You gotta wear a dress too.
Well, I don't think that's comparable in price. What are you talking about? Pedicure is like $30, $40. A ticket to Disney, a day pass to Disney World is like 120.
Yeah, but
I'll buy my own ticket, but you got to take me to the castle. That's what
1,000 goals is a lot harder. The over on that's a lot. The chances are a lot lower. Than the under.
I would say you've got to bring them to the castle on a piggyback ride, but I don't know if you can.
No, I don't. My back, I don't think can handle that. I'm sorry, and that's I don't think it would. I would handle.
Oh, don't they do well? I mean, by the time
Tyler at this point,
by the time Ovechkin scores 1,000, right? We'll be past the pandemic. They'll be doing those character lunch things and shit there again, right? So take me to a character thing at Cinderella's castle.
Ooh,
I'll buy my ticket.
They don't have. The only thing that they have at Cinderella's castle is dress up like a princess.
Perfect.
Tom's got to dress up like a princess.
No. That's not going to happen.
All right, just a different character.
We got to wager something.
All right, we'll figure something out.
More outlandish than that.
Next week, it's got to be finalized.
Something a little bit more outlandish than just a pedicure versus something. So, well, I would.
Oh man,
go ahead, Steve.
I would agree. I think he's going to do it. I don't know if he gets to 1,000. I don't want in on the bet at all. I don't know if he gets to 1,000. But I definitely think he's going to break the record. I mean, it's not unheard of that he's going to score at least 40 goals over the next 5 years, right?
He needs 42.5 per season over the next 4 years in order to do it.
I don't think that's going to be a problem for him. He's like Bill said, It's not that he's not slowing down; it's that he hasn't slowed down for 16 years.
And he doesn't
if not
even
if not for this season being cut short, and he already had a season cut short, he might be significantly higher at this point as well.
Like
and even if he slows down, he's all he's got to do is stand in that circle and fire.
He's gone through what, 2 seasons? No, he missed the first one.
He missed the
he
first one. He
came into the league after that first lockout, but he did miss time at the second lockout, so he missed an entire season and a half.
Right.
Of goals.
And then this, call it 3/4 of a season.
And he had 48 goals in 68 games last year.
68 games last year. It's ridiculous. So career averages, 74 games a year, 45 goals, 37 assists, 82 points. That's his career averages over the course of his 16-year NHL career, including this season. Is he the greatest of all time when it comes to goal scoring? You still don't call him the greatest of all time when it comes to goal scoring?
Well, you said greatest of all time, and then he said no, and then you added at goal scoring.
Okay.
So let's back it up.
I will back it up.
I'll argue that he is the best at all time.
I'm on that side.
If you consider that the different eras of the game, you can't really compare them. Like the Gretzky era, such a different era than this era. I mean, Gretzky would have been very successful, no question, whenever he played. Like, doesn't matter. He probably would have been, as dominant as he was then in this era of hockey. If he played from throughout the late 90s, starting his career, into the 2000s, right? He wouldn't have had the same number of points because we know that the game changed, obviously. But nevertheless, he's a way above everybody else in that area. But when it comes to goal scoring, Ovechkin is just unbelievable. I mean, the number of years he's had 50 or right at 50. He had 49 the last 4 years, including this year. 49 goals in 82, 51 goals in 81, 48 goals in 68 games. He's got 18 and 30 right now. But
he has eight seasons of 50 goals or more, and one season he scored 49 and 46.
Let's go back 2 seasons. 50 goals in 79 and 33 and 82. Why go back 2 seasons? That's when he's 30. He turned 30, okay? Guys don't hit 30 and then have 50 goal seasons. Like, it doesn't happen. When the fuck does that happen?
It doesn't.
In the 80s that happened. In the 90s maybe, But
I mean, you're looking at
I can't imagine
Brett Hull and those type of players. Gretzky, without question, best playmaking player ever in the NHL. I don't even think there's not even a debate with that. But when it comes to pure goal scoring, I
don't think you'd find many people that would argue with you that Ovi is the best pure goal scorer ever to play the game.
Yeah.
No, he's like Gordie Howe, but I don't know. I think maybe better than Gordie Howe.
No,
maybe not better than Gordie Howe, because Gordie Howe may have had the assist and the playmaking skills. He might have been the best all-around guy, but you can make the argument that Ovechkin could possibly be one of the better overall all-around players in NHL history.
For sure. I mean, he's not the defensive guy, but he's not out there for that. He's 100% offensive machine. When I say machine, he doesn't break down. He just is a machine out there. And he missed 50 goals by 1 goal when he was 32, 2 goals when he was 48, and that was because of 68 games.
Yep. Not
because of everything else. He's hit the 50 goal mark once, twice, 3 times, 4 times.
So
5, 6, 7.
Which
8,
one of these is better, Nick?
Is
65 and 82 better, or is 32 and 48 better? I mean,
I think 65 and 82 just because he played all 82 games and he hit 65. I mean, who knows what happens in 48?
But in that shortened season of 48 games, he had 32 goals.
Which, if you extrapolate that out to an 82 game schedule, that's still less than the 65.
Is it?
Saying. Yeah.
Thanks, Mr. Fucking Man.
Okay. Nevertheless, but I think the only thing
it's close though.
The only thing I think
probably.
I think the only thing he has going against him is that you guys haven't talked about. This is his last year in his deal.
Yeah.
He is 35. It's all up to him if he wants to play more. So depending on what happens in this season, if he decides to play,
I think he has said he wants that record.
If he wants it, he will get it. 100%, because
he said he wants that record.
It's because I don't think he's gonna slow down.
I want to just go back to, is he one of the best players ever?
Well,
He's got 140. He's definitely one of the best goal scorers, but I think when it comes to greatest player, I wouldn't put him up there. He's got 140 more goals than assists. So he's definitely more of a scorer than making those around him better. He's not necessarily looking to make those around him better.
I agree with that.
And he's feisty. He's a feisty player, but I don't know if that translates onto the defensive side.
I mean, okay, I would agree with you on the defensive side. On the assists, he still has 584 assists. I mean, that's not like not a slouch. Like he's not like
it's not. I mean, it's not terrible, but he's still averaging 10 more goals a year than assists.
Oh, but if you look at his shots, that'll probably tell you why. I mean, he shoots the hell out of the puck. He's a goal.
Right. So he's shooting, and he's shooting for his mindset is shoot first, and that's what a goal scorer is supposed to do. So when I think of a player like that, I just don't think of them as being. You can't be the greatest of all, one of the best of all time, all around, if your mentality is always shoot first and not maybe make the pass that's going to lead to a shot that's a little bit more open.
Yeah, I put it if you had top 5 guys, like all time top 5 against no top 5. I have a hard time believing that you wouldn't put Ovechkin in the left wing slot if you had like anybody from any era kind of thing.
Yeah.
So who was our Mount Rushmore? I think we got to table that to the offseason.
Right.
Sure.
When we could really look at it.
He's going to be really close in that argument. I'm just saying. I think if he's really close in the argument, you can certainly put him up there.
Nick, do you think he gets closer to 1,000 or closer to like 950 and then hangs him up?
I think he hits 900 and he retires. I don't think he's going to go
gets to 900 and says that's good enough. I broke the record.
I think the problem is you got the whole like since Tom Brady has done this thing where he's hitting like he's going to play till he's fucking like almost 50.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
God knows. Unbelievable. And he's an absolute freak of nature, and there's no precedent for what he's doing. Like not close. Like what Gordie Howe did and everything. Those guys play differently. Brady's playing against guys like Sue and fucking what's that guy's name on the Rams?
Darnold. Sam
Darnold.
Yeah.
No, Sam Darnold.
No,
yeah,
Arnold.
Sam Darnold.
What's his name?
Donald, isn't it?
Whatever. Donald, whatever.
Yeah.
Not
I
even
say potato, I say cherry.
If a dude, you see guys like that, like a guy's honestly like freak of nature, and he's coming at you and knocking you and just out there to kill you. And that dude's 45 and just wins Super Bowl. Another one.
Yeah,
Just
but there's nobody out of the
ridiculous.
ice who's going to try and take Ovechkin's head off.
No, true. It is most likely not because he's built differently and the game's different. But my point is, that's the outlier. But you see players like him in other sports doing it. It might just convince him to start to try and take care of himself better to get there, because he's going to have a point where he's going to be like, I have to like probably start to take care of myself a little better, because I mean he's not really otherwise what's going to happen? He's going to start to become that player that's just chasing that goal, right? And not playing as hard. And he's done it before. And we've seen it in times where he's done that. And he's been better about it, I think, in the last few seasons. And that's why they won the cup. And that was one of the things against him for a long time, was like, he doesn't try hard enough on defense. And he wants the goals, and he's going out there for that. And he wants the big hits. But he can't hit everybody anymore. He's slowed down. He's not as, he isn't doing that much, but
he's still a physical player for sure. Well,
I
agree with everybody, and there's a lot of good stuff. One question that we're not asking: does he break the record in a Caps jersey?
Oh, I was actually just wondering, when does he get to the Rangers? Look at the top 10 all-time goal scoring list.
41.
The top 10 all-time goal scoring list, 6 Rangers, and they all made a mark with the Rangers. They were all pretty much career Rangers. We're talking Gretzky, Yager, Dion, Esposito, Messier, Gartner, all Rangers. All did all their damage with the Rangers.
Hey, Luke Robitaille's just outside that list. So is Brendan Shanahan.
There you go.
He's not leaving. They're not going to let him leave.
Was almost a Ranger.
He was almost a Ranger. Shanahan almost a Ranger like 8 times. Every other week there was this rumor about Shanahan to the Rangers.
Well, he was a Ranger for 2 seasons, or 3 seasons.
True.
But does he do it in a Caps jersey? That's the question.
I think so.
I think so too. I don't think they let him go.
He's too important to that team. It's like Crosby. They'll never trade Crosby. Those two guys are not going anywhere.
When you're a legend for a team, they don't let you play for another team like the St. Louis Blues. They They want to lock you up long term so that you're a career player for that team. They don't want you to soil your reputation by going to the St. Louis Blues for 8 lousy games.
Or to trade you on your birthday to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah, I can understand that. I understand where you're going with that one. I think he's going to be a Cap as long as he wants to be, and I don't think he take less money either to do it either.
He's tight with the owner. He's not going anywhere. No. They want him there.
I agree. But man, he's only 35 years old. I really thought he was more. It's like what's his name on the Devils that we talked about last week? Palmieri, exactly. He's been around so long. I just
expect him to be older. Yeah. So, maybe he winds up on the Flyers at some point, and then they only lose to the Rangers like 9-6 instead of 9-2.
Oh, Jesus Christ! So we got to look at. So, part of the agenda tonight was LOL Flyers, and it's just been absolutely puzzling. I mean, the Flyers were a really good team last year, and the Rangers had total fits against them last year, and they really couldn't contain the Flyers last year at all. Anytime they went into Philadelphia, or Philadelphia came to New York, it was always, Philly was really dominated the game. And the Rangers got, won a game, they actually stole the game. And Carter Hart was a really good goalie last year. I don't know what the hell is going on with him this year. Really, the entire team. If you look at the last 13 games, they're 8-5 in my book. They've scored 36 goals, but they've given up 58 goals. And you can talk about the goaltending all you want, but somebody's got to fall on the defense. And look, losing Matt Niskanen was a gigantic hole. He was part of their first paired defense. I hated that guy. Carter Hart this year, 22 games, 8-9-3 with a 4.04 and an 869 save percentage. You know what the NHL, what the league average is for save percentage for a goalie? 910. He's not even in the ballpark. And they just put Gostersbreherenchlacker on waivers today. So fuck the Flyers.
Fuck the Flyers.
Well, they're fucking themselves. We don't have to say it anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Can you imagine that? Ghostbear's on waivers.
Don't get that. We will always say it.
Fuck the Flyers.
Fuck
the Flyers.
That's I think the state of the Flyers right now, right? You look, they've basically turned a guy that was talked about as a Calder. I think he was a Calder nominee. Ghost Bear. I don't remember if he won. I don't think he won the Calder that year.
No, he wasn't, but he was in the conversation.
Yeah,
he was in the conversation for one of the best all-around and offensive defensemen in the league.
He played, he put up a lot of points, and even if he's got defensive, issues or defensive, like he has mistakes because he's a young kid. Defense takes a long time, but points are huge from defensemen, and that's like. It does not just fall out of trees, and you have to make those. You have to really turn those guys into complete defensemen, and they have failed miserably. So much so that a Calder nominee who scored, I can't. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was pretty good numbers from him to a point where they're waiving the guy. He's making some decent money if I remember correctly.
He's
making I think $4.65
as a cap hit. But the last
for 3 years, right?
Yeah, he's got 2 more years left. But the last year of the contract, he's only making $1 million in salary, but his cap hit is 4.5. So, it's not bad for some cash like Ottawa or Florida. And speaking of Florida, there's already reports that he's already been picked up.
Really?
But we won't know until noon tomorrow.
Yeah, we won't know tomorrow.
It's Twitter shit. So
yeah. But the point is, that's to me a very huge indication as to where the problems really lie. Carter's not playing great, but you can't leave your goalie out to hang all the time. That many goals, that's not on your goalie. That's on your defense, not clearing guys out, not playing sound defense. You watched the game against the Rangers and the Flyers, right? 9-0.
Watch both of them. So there was no look. We talked about it. Myers and the other guy were -6 in that game each, not combined, each. And in the 8-3 game, at least they showed some backbone and came back a little bit. The first game they showed zero backbone. They were lethargic all night. Even when they were down, they were beaten, and they knew it, and they couldn't come back because just didn't have anything in them. They didn't have a heart that night. At least the 8-3 game, they showed something. They came back. They fought a little bit. I don't know did you see kind of the same thing when the Islanders were up 6-1 on them?
Honestly, we've had their number a little bit the last few years. Well, last year I should say. Really, and I didn't think they were that good, honestly. But that's because we've done well against them, and they didn't seem defensively that great. And I look at it that way because of the way that the Isles play. Right, they're playing very tight, very opportunistic hockey, and comparatively to the Flyers, and they seem more open and more just running gun a little bit and too much. And then they're very talented for sure, but if that doesn't work out, if they're not scoring goals, they're in trouble. Now they're scoring goals. I mean, I think their average last few games was like almost 3 goals. It was like 2.7 or something like that. I think we were looking at stats from the Star Text this morning, and they're scoring, but that's not the problem. They're letting in like a bazillion goals.
That's right.
So that's and you can't hang that on your goalie. You can't, because they're not pulling Carter every game.
No, but look at the other side, Elliott. I don't think Elliott's any better with his stats this year.
It's not the goalie problem. It's not the goalie problem. Hard stuff. If they tell him, hey, we want him to sit for a little bit and get his shit together, that's fine. But that's not the heart of the problem. Their defensive system is failing, no matter how you look at it. You can't let that many goals in. A 9-0 game alone is a gigantic wake up call.
But the problem is they didn't wake up.
No, I was just gonna say, and they didn't wake up.
They didn't wake up.
According to Pierre LeBrun, the Flyers actually have interest in Jonathan. In Bernier. Yeah.
I mean, look, we texted back and forth today a lot of funny stuff about the Flyers, and we did get a big chuckle out of it. One of the things was Carter Hart breaking up with his psychiatrist. I mean, look, and I agree with the person who posted that. Maybe it's none of our business, but
well, it wasn't. No. I think it wasn't psychiatrist. It was there was a
psychologist.
That's not like, it's completely different than a psychiatrist. So we can absolutely make fun of him for it.
Okay, he's fair game. Done.
Yeah.
Tomato, potato.
I mean, you're a goalie. You probably should talk to somebody about all the shit you're going through with in the net there. I'm sure those guys are all fucking crazy. I can't imagine being a goalie, honestly.
Just in doing little research, the Flyer fan base is absolutely hating this move, and they're placing the blame squarely on Alain Vigneault's shoulders, that he just doesn't know how to use them. Because this player doesn't fit into your style of play, why are you casting him aside?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because everything that Nick was saying is true, but ultimately you've got Gostersbreherenchlacker, whatever the hell his name is. I've seen the guy play for years. He's a good defenseman. What is the problem right now? Why is it motivation? Then why? What is he not fitting? Then why? I think he's a good hockey player. I think it's an indication that there's more problems on the Flyers end than on Gostersbrehere's end. And I don't know if he's had any kind of attitude or relationship issues or anything like that, but it just seems like you got a good player there. Why is he not fitting? I think they got to look kind of more internally and see why that's the case, not at the player.
I can sit here all night and try to listen to you pronounce his last name all night. All night.
Is that a French Canadian last name? I can't get the hang of those. It's too hard.
I heard Gostersbrehere broke up with Carter Hart's sports psychologist too.
I have no interest in your goddamn last name if it's more than 3 syllables.
No, it's very easy to say. It's Shayne. Look, repeat after me. Ready? Shayne Gostersbrehere.
You nailed it.
Way to go.
And
I'm gonna call him Shane O'Mac.
All right. God.
Wonderful. When he's playing for the Florida Panthers tomorrow, you can certainly do that all you want, and we can maybe even like the poor guy.
4-4. We're going to overtime.
Fucking kidding me? You let the Bruins get a goddamn point? You were up 4-2 in the third period. What the fuck? These are important goddamn points. If the Rangers want to make the playoffs, and you're blowing it.
If the Rangers and Devils want to make the playoffs, They got to beat Boston and Philly.
If the Devils want to make the playoffs, Bryce Salvador said this today. If Boston plays 500 the rest of the season, the Devils have to play better than 676. They can only lose 6 of their remaining 23. So that's not going to happen. So we don't have to worry about the Devils making the playoffs. Now, are we ruining it for the Rangers? Are we ruining it for the Rangers? Yeah, maybe we are. I don't fucking care.
Oh, I know you didn't. I knew you didn't. And look, I really, the games in hand that Boston has, I mean, it's going to be tough for just about anybody to come back on.
Yeah.
I don't think the Rangers are going to make the playoffs. They're having a really good second half of their season, the Rangers. But I don't see them making the playoffs, and I'll talk more about that later. But I mean, one more thing before we say goodbye to the Flyers. I sent that picture around when they had all 5 guys around the crease defensively. And I think were the Sabres on a power play? How the fuck does that happen? I mean, you got 3 guys.
It certainly looked like it.
It really looked like, but I think there was 5 guys. There was 5 players.
I'm counting. Hang on.
Are you?
I think there was 5 total with the goalie.
There's 5. No. There's 5 Flyers and the goalie.
Was there?
They were going with the 3-2 system. 3 guys up front, 3 guys in front of the guy in the crease, 2 guys behind the guy in the crease. It's a good strategy, I think. It's a solid strategy. They're well spaced out. Trying to get a puck through 5 guys and a goalie, it's probably really difficult.
It'd have been fucking hilarious if that guy in the middle of the 5 Flyers scored. Yeah, I saw another clip of them where like all of them, the 5 of them were kind of on the right side of the ice and left
all along the boards, and the puck went across, right?
They were playing the same. Yeah. Oh my god.
Well,
I mean, speaking of it,
they were trying to get Ekholm from Nashville, who's actually on TSN's top 25 trade bait thing that they do every year. That half of the guys, or 3/4 of the guys, don't even get traded on. You remember that list? Well, they put out, and if you look at the top 10 players on there, half of the players aren't going to be available because their teams are now in the playoff hunt. You look at teams like Nashville, you look at teams like the Columbus Blue Jackets, they're not going to be trading anybody at the deadline. The Jackets are not going to trade Foligno. They're not going to trade Savard because they're going to use those guys as rentals for their own team to see if they can make a run at the playoffs and do something in them. Nashville finally tied Chicago. So, you look at Granlund, you look at Ekholm. I don't think they're in a position that they're going to trade those. And I don't even think they were going to trade those guys anyway.
2 things I love about this list. 1, just to get Toronto's name in the list at number 7, Toronto's top prospect.
They're not even on my list. And
just to get them on the list, just to, get some clickbait going. Got to get Toronto on the list. The second thing is, yes, exactly like you're saying. All these players aren't getting traded, right? So above Paul Mary is Taylor Hall.
He's getting traded.
He's getting traded, but I think the market for Paul Mary is better than the market for Hall.
Yeah, but they held Hall out of the game the other night, right? The Sabres. So he didn't even play against Philadelphia. They held him out because they don't want him to be.
They don't want damaged product, sure.
But yeah, Bernier on that list, who was more than likely going to get traded.
Yeah.
Goligoski's on that list, but you got to look at teams like Ottawa. You got to look at teams like Detroit, New Jersey, the Rangers. You got to look at some of these teams, and the Rangers are going to be close enough to where they're going to be scared to trade somebody unless they go on a 2-game losing streak against Buffalo the next.
They're not selling. If you're kidding yourself, I think they're selling. They're playing too well.
No. By selling, I'm talking about Brendan Smith or somebody who's on an expiring contract can just, go away.
But why? Is that like an addition by subtraction kind of deal? You think?
Well,
pick up a pick or 2.
Yeah, exactly. It's just another asset that down the line could turn into something.
I don't know about that. You're making a run in the playoffs.
You're gonna lose Brendan Smith anyway, and you're not gonna make the playoffs at this point. I don't think you are anyway. So especially Devils.
Come on. Skate.
Still in overtime, are they?
Yes. Sorry.
But a sleeper I had on the list was maybe Bobby Ryan, and even Mark Stahl is not in their top 10. I don't get how Mark Stahl is not in their top 10. If Mark Stahl gets traded for a second round or even a first round pick, that would have been the greatest GM move in the history of GM moves by Steve Yzerman. To take on Mark Stahl and get a second round pick from the Rangers
and then trade him.
And then trade Mark Stahl at the deadline for even a second or first. Now you're getting a defenseman who was in the NHL this year, maybe the best defensive defenseman in the NHL this year. Sure, he played for Detroit, but he was on that list. Not only are you getting that player, but you're getting a second round pick, and you're going to flip him at the deadline for another asset. If that happens, kudos to you, Steve Yzerman. Well done.
Steve Yzerman is a great GM, man.
Yeah. And look, this is why you pick up these guys who were bought out on their contracts, who are on 1-year deals for $1 million, so you can flip them at the deadline, like Bobby Ryan, like a Stahl or a number of other players that could potentially
every year.
And Taylor Hall for that matter. I don't know Hall bought out.
Hall's deal was basically this. Yeah. It was either we do really well and we sign him for a fuck ton of money, and it's Taylor Hall in Buffalo, which Buffalo had no real reason to get him to come there, or they trade him at the deadline for, a few assets. It's a win-win for them. I mean, it's somewhat because they suck so bad that they're literally lost 18 straight. So, I mean, that's not really a win in any
including
regard.
Blowing a 3-goal lead in the third period against
it's amazing. I think it's better that we didn't talk about the Buffalo Sabres, because I just feel like
don't start now.
It's just there's no reason to piss on that corpse. I mean, that's just way dead.
There is a reason, and I'm going to get into that later.
Okay, but Nick, there was an interesting name tied to the Islanders, and it was Brown from the LA Kings. I think Dustin Brown would be really, really good on the island. That's actually pretty scary if that actually happened.
I saw that, and I wouldn't mind it that much. I don't know what he would cost exactly. But I don't know if Los Angeles would trade him. He is their captain. He's been playing better. We have a lot of money in the in like LTIR from Lee. So we actually have a lot of room we could actually make deals, even though it's, with missing Lee, it's been a problem for us. Without him, it's like we have a huge gap in our top six, and we've been playing Leo Komarov on the top line essentially for that. So, I think that makes the Isles a big time buyer this year. And that'll be interesting to see what happens with someone like Taylor Hall. Everly played with Taylor Hall in Edmonton. He's on the top line of Barzal. That could be a really interesting top line if they decide to make a move. I don't know what that would cost. It's probably first, maybe the second. I don't know.
So
we'll see.
So I did see a rumor that involved the Islanders, and it was Paul Mary for Kiefer Bellows.
That would be interesting.
Would you make that deal? Would you make that deal? It seems like you're giving up on Bellows really early.
Personally, I like Bellows. I think he's a decent player. And he can score a lot of goals. He's got a pretty good eye for the net. He needs time to develop, but he's consistent playing time. So I think in next year he has to play a full season. They can't kind of do this jerking around thing, and that's been the kind of the problem for him, is that this is a season where they're like, listen, there's no leash. This is we win the cup or we don't win. You have to win the cup. Anything less than win the cup this year is it's not good. It's not a good year, and that's the case for so many teams. But not every team goes into the season being like, hey, we got to the conference finals, so therefore we have to make the cup. We have to win the cup. Like, we're in the win now mode. So for him, he's a rookie.
You got to keep progressing.
It's the toughest part. So they're like, we have.
Yeah.
And I've talked about it a number of times on the podcast. We've had 4 rookies, true rookies. We have Sorokin as our goalie, Dobson as a defenseman. First time really playing full time all year. Wallstrom, and then lastly you have Bellows. And so Wallstrom has played really well. Dobson's played really well. Sorokin's been playing really well. Bellows has played. I feel he's played pretty good, but it's not good enough. It's just not for what they're expecting out of him. They're like, you have to make all of the right plays all the time, and because your offense is not enough to overlook those things. Like, Wallstrom has made enough offense to overlook any of the small things.
You can make a mistake. Yeah.
And Bellows has such a short leash. It's very tough. Where they we'll throw Uncle Leo in, and he can just fill in the gaps. And that sucks because Uncle Leo, he's decent, but he's not. He's his ceiling is his floor is high, but his ceiling is right next to the floor.
Right next to his floor.
There's nothing higher than that. And we have to put when we have to put Leo on the top line, that just screams that we need someone there. So they're gonna trade for somebody for the top 6. There's no question in my mind that's going to happen. I originally wanted defensive depth, but it's not going to happen.
Like the three guys I heard that were tied to the Islanders with Palmieri, with Dustin Brown, and even Nick Foligno. Any one of those guys would have helped your cause this year for sure in replacing Lee. But now it's time for the night. Everybody's favorite new segment, Impressions with Nick. So we got to guess we got a couple of questions we're gonna ask you, and it's gonna be press conference style.
Ooh, I have a question.
All right.
What did you think of the team's performance tonight?
What do you want me to go with that question? We played like shit. I'm not going to pick apart our team. We played like shit. I don't know why you asked me that question. Like I said 2 nights ago, you guys can write your stuff. I'm not going to be part of your story. I'm not going to get into what we went wrong. A ton went wrong. I'm not going to answer those questions.
But I got a question. You guys looked better in your last game of this 3-game slide. What did you think happened? What unraveled?
You guys morons. I'm not going to talk about performance. We sucked, but I'm not going to talk about it. We tried to play hockey games. We couldn't make the play tonight. Utter dog shit.
What, Coach? What are your thoughts on the goalie interference on the last goal?
Oh, for fuck's sake! No one gives a shit. We sucked dick all night. What a goddamn dumb question. Did your mother drop you on your head? No disrespect to you, Tom. You're a good reporter most of the time, but no one cares about that shit. No more questions? Good. Fuck you guys.
Wow. Bravo.
Bravo. Rob fucking O.
I'm tempted to say Red Auerbach, but I don't know if that's true.
No.
What do you got, Tom?
I'm going to guess a certain coach who may resemble Arthur Fonzarelli in Columbus.
Oh, well. Hey, Boston won in the shootout, by the way.
Fucking kidding me. They got another goddamn point.
Bill? Yeah, that was Torts, right? I mean, obviously, that's Tortorella. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
no doubt about it.
Okay, good. I was right. Thank God.
No doubt about it.
Whew.
Yeah, you had that one.
Very good impression.
That was
curse word.
Fantastic. You got Torts net. You nailed them. Whack, whack.
All right.
How the fuck did the Devils lose to the Bruins? What the fuck, man?
They allowed them to score 2 goals in the third period to tie it up and then lost 2 goals to none in the shootout. That's how they lost.
We're going to turn this segment into Fuck the Devils.
No. We can turn it into Devils Fuck the Rangers.
That's true.
You would see it that way, you fucking petty piece of shit.
Hey, look, I'm not happy about it.
And as well you should. I don't think you should be either. Blowing a 2-goal lead in the third period. It's tough for any team to take. Just ask the Buffalo Sabres. Well, not that I'm comparing the Devils to the Sabres, but I'm just saying.
Typical Ranger fan, that's what you would do.
Just saying. Just saying. But you know what, Steve? It's not your fault.
Don't start that. Not you, Tom.
No, Steve, it's not your fault.
Tom, I know.
It's not your fault.
Listen to me, son. It's not your fault.
Don't start that. All right. I don't want to.
It's not your fault.
Not you. Cut it out. I don't want.
How do you like them apples?
Oh my God. 2 impersonations one night? Oh my God.
What is this? Impersonation podcast? What are you doing here?
Night at the Improv.
If you are not listening to the Friends and Rivals podcast, I don't know what's wrong with you. 4-point nights. Steve, go ahead, lead us off.
So this is going to be the last time you hear me mention this, probably, but I just want to wrap up. I just want to wrap up what I'm calling the COVID haze with some factual backing behind it. Pre-COVID break, the Devils were 4-3-2. If you count the first 2 out of the break, where you're playing on a little bit more of adrenaline, they were 6-3-2. From February 20th to March 13th, a total of 13 games, they were 2-5-1. 5 points over 13 games. Since March 14th, including tonight, they're 5-3-2. So you take the first stretch of games, you take the last stretch of games, they're 11-6-3. That's pretty remarkable when you consider how far down they are in the standings. That COVID haze really cost them a chance to do something special this year. My second point is that it doesn't look like the Devils and Palmieri are going to work out an extension like we talked about. I feel like he's definitely going to get traded before the deadline. So look out for that. Hopefully they can get a lot in return, and maybe like Vatanen, come the off season, sign him back because I know he likes playing in the metro area. So my third point is the team's got to be really happy. They're finally going to have a 2-day break. This will be their first consecutive days off since February 16th, and it'll be the only 2-day break they're going to have for the rest of the season. So from February 16th to the end of the season, May 10th, this is the only 2-day break they're going to have.
You mean they're actually going to get a practice in? I'm assuming a day off and then a practice.
I think they're going to go day off and practice. I would say go practice and then day off to rest for the next game. You know, run them real hard that first day, let them recoup, get a day off, and then you got the game day skate to get in going into the game. But we'll see. I don't know what coach is going to do there. And my last point is that the penalty kill is definitely starting to look a lot better, more aggressive. They're not allowing the other team to pass the puck around the umbrella. They're definitely pressuring more along the sideboards and even up at the point. So it's definitely, there's stats to back that up. I don't have them handy, but the penalty kill has definitely improved. And maybe that's a reason why they've been playing so well again since March 14th. So those are my 4 points for the Devils this week.
Yeah, the penalty kill certainly looked good against the Penguins. Well, at least they were moving their feet more than what I saw when they were playing the Rangers for sure.
And that's all I want to see. I just want to see them be a little bit more aggressive. Don't let them have those passes. Certainly don't let them have the passes across the middle. And with that, let's throw it over to our resident Pittsburgh Penguin reporter, William Fougere.
Yay, that's me. All right, so I've got a point to make about the Buffalo Sabres that the Penguins did beat in back-to-back games this past Wednesday and Thursday night. That defense that we saw give up a 3-goal third period lead to the Flyers, it is nothing short of brutal. They're so bad that they're on the brink of making history. They've got the fourth longest streak without a win in the NHL in history. But couple of guys that I saw on that Buffalo defense really bothered me when I was watching the Penguins play last weekend. And first one, Colin Miller. Okay, 28-year-old defenseman, probably wants out or whatever. Yeah, that's great, fantastic. I have never seen the excessive amount of diving that from a defenseman. Like you can almost understand a little better when a forward has the puck and is trying to make a play. Okay, they feel the pressure, they go down. You shouldn't be diving all over your defensive zone. It's ridiculous.
It's almost like Goldberg diving in Mighty Ducks, right? He's the goalie. He's not supposed to dive.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Is the puck supposed to hit me? Does that seem weird to anybody else? Yeah, I saw Miller on the first night that the Penguins played him. There was a puck that kind of flipped up in the air, and him and Anthony Angelo were waiting for it to come down, and Angelo bumped into him before the puck got down, and Miller just dove to the ground like he'd been run over by a truck. I mean, Angelo was looking up for the puck when they bumped into each other, and it was ridiculous. But what really kind of took the cake was the following night, and I think it was Angelo again, was reaching in with his stick on Miller, and Miller grabbed Angelo's stick, hit himself in the face with it, and then went down. Yeah, I would definitely look for that clip. That was one of the more ridiculous ones I've ever seen.
That was amazing.
Yeah, and they got a big power play at that point where I mean, conceivably, if it wasn't Buffalo, they might have done some damage and come back and maybe did something to the game. But they are Buffalo, and they screwed that up. So another defenseman that they've got, fucking waste of space, Rasmus Ristolainen, career minus 163 for the Sabres. Yes.
Is that humanly possible?
What?
How many years?
Mean, if I was playing it, I'd probably do that pretty quickly. But I
think any one of us
would. A guy who's spent his life playing hockey and trying to do it professionally.
Minus 100 and what?
Minus 163.
Holy shit.
In his 8th season, I think. But you know what? I feel like he's just he's trying to just hit anything at any time, and he's completely disregarding any defensive responsibility. I think if he got his head straight, he seems like he's big enough and physical enough and smart enough that he might actually make a good defenseman somewhere. But all he's doing is running around trying to take people's heads off. He's going into the penalty box and he's getting himself out of position, just trying to hit people late, hit anything that's moving. And I guess maybe his thought is that, he wants somebody to notice that he plays hard or something. But yeah, that minus 163, I just don't know what he where he thinks his career is going. And he's been with Buffalo that whole time, and maybe he shouldn't be a number one there, but
for those asking, the NHL record for career lowest plus minus in NHL history is minus 257 by a gentleman by the name of Bob Stewart. I've never heard the name Bob Stewart before. Apparently he played 575 games in the NHL, 27 goals, 101 assists, 128 points. But he is the career leader in the worst plus minus in NHL history.
How many penalty minutes did Bob Stewart have? I'm curious if maybe his game was to just go out there and beat the crap.
109.
Oh, I think we found what he does.
Yeah, but Joe Sorella's on that list too. He was minus 200 for his career, and he had 1,446 penalty minutes. Yeesh.
Well, with those guys running around, kind of undermining what the Sabres are doing, hey, they might keep that losing streak going for a while. So my next point for the Penguins is actually about the Penguins defense, which has been much improved certainly since the season started. And a couple of guys that I've really torn to shreds at different parts of the season. Mike Matheson and our friend Dan Marino from Harvard. They've actually both been playing much better defensively than they had for a long time this season. So I was very quick to point out how bad they were. I should give them credit too. So I think part of what they did, and you could kind of see it in their game against the Islanders. Their 2 games against the Islanders, because the last time the Penguins played the Islanders, even though the Penguins weren't doing, I think they might have split the last time they played them, but they've spent a lot of the last several games against the Islanders chasing them around and really being overwhelmed by especially the Barzal line and the Cizikas lines were just killing them. If not on the scoreboard, they were just running them around their own zone. And it seems like where Matheson and Marino got caught a lot of times chasing, they've kind of gone with a different approach, and they're sort of just letting those guys stay to the outside, covering the middle much better than they were, and letting the play come to them a little more. Because if you get into a game chasing the Islanders, you're just gonna get torched. And so they've seemed to settle down in their defensive game a bit. Next up for my points, the Penguins, the young guys. So with all the injuries the Penguins have had at forward, I think, and with the Penguins really not being known for their pipeline of young talent, I have to give a lot of credit to their minor league system and the young guys they've had playing in the absence of some of the veterans, Anthony Angelo, which I mentioned before, Freddie Gaudreau and Sam Lafferty, Colton Sevior, not a young guy, but one of those role guys that's gotten more time, Drew O'Connor, and rookie, what was his name? I have it written down. Oh, Radim Zahorna from the Czech Republic, who played a long time in Brno, which is where the Neil Morse Band recorded their Blu-ray for their The Great Adventure. Okay, nobody's interested in that. All right.
No,
anyway,
but I want to add that to the list of names I would love to hear you call for the rest of the night too, by the way.
Radim Zahorna. So Zahorna, I think he actually only played one game against
just the way you
Sabres.
say Zahorna.
And what town is that team playing?
Well, one of the towns he played in.
Doesn't matter. Shut up. Move on.
Oh, okay. Anyway, he scored in his first goal, first shot against the Sabres, and he's Zahorna is a giant. He's 6'6", and it just looks weird seeing a 6'6" forward. He looks like Chara, and it feels like he should be playing defense, but so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But he's a decently skilled guy who really had a breakout season in the Czech Republic, 26 years old, and so they brought him over, and with all the injuries, he got in and he did score, but he didn't play a whole lot against Buffalo. So I am a little interested to see how he goes. But those young guys, Freddie Gaudreau especially, they're all competing because they know that there's 5 players coming back, 5 regulars coming back, and they don't know when they're going to see their next shifts when that happens, if they get healthy. And so it's kind of a healthy competition thing because all these guys are trying to be, the next guy that the Penguins call up, and it's worked out. Even though they're down a lot of guys, they're playing hard, and they've had 12 wins in the month of March. I think, there was a little bit of a shock when they had so many guys hurt. They kind of lost a step, and the Devils, gave it to them for 2 out of 3 games. But since then they've bounced back and are playing well again and just beat an Islander team that gave them a lot of trouble. So back-to-back nights. Then my last point being about the injuries. The Penguins did see Zucker come back yesterday. Brandon Tanev, they've said, has been close for the last week and a half. I don't know what close means anymore because he's not been on the ice, but they kept saying he's close. So whatever that means. Malkin, Bluger, Kapanen still week to week, I believe. And then they just lost a goalie. So the one position where they had been healthy, Tristan Jarry left after the first period of the Islanders game last night. He skated off at the end of the first period with ahead 2-0. Didn't seem like anything was wrong, but he didn't show up for the second period. Casey DeSmith took over, and we have that dreaded upper body injury being evaluated, and no new news on Tristan Jarry. So who the hell knows? Maybe he'll be back next game. Maybe we'll see him in 2027. So somewhere in between there, I think is a safe bet. And that's my 4 points. And who wants it next? Oh, I think I'm going to send this over to Nick with the Islanders.
Right. So it's interesting you said that about the Penguins and Isles games. We had 2 games against Penguins this week, one against Boston. Boston game went pretty much as we were down early, down 2 in the first, which has been kind of like a bad trend the Isles have had, laying up goals early and starting from behind. They scored 3 goals late unanswered against Bruins in that game, and then eventually let up a late goal to get in overtime with a very quick goal in overtime from the Isles, basically right off face-off. The entire clip is 20 seconds right off the face-off. Letty uses all of his speed to basically create the entire play. But the games against the Penguins, after winning in overtime against Boston, 2 games against Penguins were they've struggled against Penguins. And the first game was against essentially with Sorokin out, who's been really red hot for us, who's won 7 straight starts. He got pulled 4 goals against. 2 of them I felt were really him. He could have really dealt with, or he needed to really deal with, especially his first goal. First goal was just glove. He had a piece of it, didn't get all of it. But they just were not sharp in that first half of that game. And later in the game, 3 goals. Isles really warmed up in that game later in the late. Made it 5-3. Game with an empty netter, made 6-3. But they were not really sharp and just did not get get going what they need to do. That game they had 32 shots against 21 from the Penguins, and the Penguins had 6 goals on 20. Well, I guess that's 5 goals and 21 shots. 6 was a empty netter. 37 hits to 22, 12 block shots to 4, 2 giveaways to 13. I mean, these are stats that would really show you that one team was playing better than the other. Completely opposite, right? In terms of the score and honestly, just tale of 2 halves, in my opinion, of that game. Second game against the Penguins, basically, Ross Johnson's out there, gets offensive penalty in the first few minutes of the game, power play goal the other way. I don't know why we have Ross Johnson out there at all. I'm not a fan of that guy. And this is a game that was much different, very close, very tight. Barzal created a goal on the power play. From his skating, wasn't enough to get us back into the game. We lost 2-1 that game. But that was interesting was the Isles came out very different in that game. 52 hits to 23 in that game. That's a lot of hits. I was looking at everyone's individual stats. I couldn't believe it was that many hits in that game. That was a big. I don't know if that's the high for us this season, but it's probably up there. But yeah, we've had fits with the Penguins this season, just not able to beat them. Strangely, we've had a very up and down thing with the different teams we've been playing against. In the head-to-head, I've mentioned a few times, we're undefeated against the Boston Bruins and the Buffalo Sabres this year. 11-0 against those 2 teams. 5-1 against the Devils. That's 3 teams we are 100%, 1,000%, 833%. And we played 5, 6, and 6 games. So we're getting close to the end of those teams. I think we played Devils at the end of the last 2. I think they're in 2 of the last 4 games we played at the end of the season. So we're not going to see the Devils for a while. Sabres are also the same. We see them, I think, 2 of the last 5 games. The last game we played was against Boston. But then you look at the other side of it, and you have the Washington Capitals. We're 0-3 against them. We haven't played a lot, but we're going to see them very soon. Penguins, all 8 games done. I don't want to see the Penguins at all this season. I hope they lose in the playoffs when we play them. We're 2-6 against them, essentially 2-4-2, but the 2 overtime games don't mean much. It's still a loss, 1 point each. So we're very interesting in how we've been very successful against certain teams and then just dog shit against others. And the Penguins games, I didn't feel we were that bad against them. If we aren't getting the goals early and getting the lead early, we're just not beating them. They're just I don't know what it is about that team, but they've had our number all year, and it's 8 games, which is interesting because if we go in the playoffs and play them again, I wonder how it would be because there's not really a precedent. I mean, maybe from back in the day, but like, could you imagine a 7-game series against a team you played 8 times already? That's 15 games.
And that's the first round matchup right now if the standings hold.
Yeah, that could. Yeah, exactly. So that's crazy. Like, can you imagine playing the same goddamn team 15 times? Like, that's like Inman level shit where it's like, there's only 2 teams in this league. You guys are playing each other 15 times.
I'm starting to feel like it's more than likely too, because I don't know that either one's going to catch the Caps.
Yeah,
I don't know that the Bruins or the Flyers have what it takes to catch our 2 teams.
Honestly, I think the Rangers can catch them. The Rangers look deadly, and they look like they figured it out. I think they're gonna be a lot tougher. It's gonna be tough. Boston's got a lot of points. It depends on who they got left. I haven't looked at their head to head yet and see if they've played a lot of.
Boston's got a lot of games in hand. That's the problem.
Yeah, they've only played the Sabres twice this season.
There you have it.
That's not good.
Enough said.
Because they got a lot of games.
Plus, I think it's 3 games in hand that they have on the Rangers right now. I mean, it's not that I don't think that the Rangers are going to play well enough to make the playoffs because I think they're going to. Boston's just going to be playing Buffalo for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Weirdly, the Boston's they're 3-1 against the Penguins, 5-0 against Philly. They played 5 times, obviously. Only 2-0 against Buffalo. But they're 2-0-2 against the Capitals, and they've lost 3 straight. I'm sorry, they're 3-2 overtime losses to Isles. So they're only 5 against the Isles, but they've gotten 2 points out of it. So they're one of those teams. They have like certain teams they do really well against, and others they're just kind of like they're dog shit against. But if they're playing well against Penguins and the Capitals, which they are right now, they have half their games played, that's good for them. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Like you said, they have games in hand. So anyway, back to other points. Isles have been they're 5-4 since losing Lee. They're 17-6-4 with Lee on the team. So obviously that's a very big concern to me and the Isles in general. And I think that's going to mean that they're going to make a 100%. They're going to use the LTI cap space on a trade to get someone like a Taylor Hall. I don't know if Palmer is the guy. Maybe they make maybe
even a Taylor Swift.
They have enough cap space. They could potentially.
How about a Taylor Ham? Can we get a Taylor Ham too?
Yeah. So the worry is that it's basically how much are we going to give up for this. So I know we were talking about the TSN trade list today. I looked at the Athletics, and they had a interesting point, which is their top list of things. The number 4 they just added to the list was the Isles' number 1 pick, because they're like, Lee's out. Your first round pick is in play. Like, they're probably going to give that up to get somebody big. I hope not. I hope it's the second. We have the Colorado Avalanche second this year. I hope we only spend our first. I feel like that's always rough when you trade your first pick, but we'll see. I mean, it depends on who. I don't know if there's anybody else can take a guy like Taylor Hall, to be honest. Like, that's a lot of cap space to take on, and it's going to be interesting to see who can actually do that. I didn't look at the numbers of each team, but I mean, it's going to be interesting. So there might not be a lot of buyers for someone like him. I think he fits really well in the team in terms of just who he'd play with. But we'll see.
It's the Florida Panthers have the cap space in order to acquire him. But look,
even if they get Ghost.
You mean because the business is here?
Yes. Yeah.
I'd rather take Gostisbehere because you know what? He's free. He costs you money, but he could turn into.
We were talking about Gostisbehere earlier, and we mentioned that his cap hit is 4.5, but his actual salary in the last year is going to be $1 million. The last 2 years, his actual monetary salary is $1 million per year, but his cap hits 4.5. So you look at a team like the Florida Panthers, the Ottawa Senators, teams that are strapped for cash. He is their wet dream. Even the New Jersey Devils. He would be a great addition on the Devils club who might be a little strapped for cash and could add to the bottom line.
And the great thing is, if in New Jersey, if they did pick him up, he would bridge that gap from Kulikov, Vatanen, Murray to Kevin Ball, Riley Walsh, guys that are 2 years away at least. He would bridge that gap. So yes, he would be a great pickup.
But Florida does have enough to pick up both, by the way.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah. So last couple points. Power play's been hurting pretty bad in March. It's partially because of Lee. In February, we were 9 for 22. We were top in the league in our power play in February, 40%. In March, we're 10%, 4 for 38.
Ouch.
It's been rough. Since losing the lead, it's been 3 for 24 losing him, so 12%. But realistically, it's just the combination of him being out. He went out on the 11th of March, so he was in partially the month. It hasn't been just because of Anders being out, but he's a big part of it.
He was sort of like the general out there on that power play, right?
He's the guy.
General Lee. He was sort of.
So yeah, him missing him has been kind of rough for the power play, which is really just one of those things where we're struggling on goals right now. And then lastly, I was going to go into the goalies and defense, but to be honest, that's not really too big of a deal. It's kind of like Barley and Sorokin are playing okay defensively. We're not playing fantastic this week, but I think the better point is that we're currently in Fort Never Lose, 13-1-2 at home. Away, 9-9-2. We are the Coliseum is basically right where we usually have it. Very hard for other teams to play against us there, even without fans. But when the fans start to come in to play, it should keep that streak going for us. But I think
shitty must that visitors' locker room be that you have that advantage with no fans?
They renovated it, but it's not. It's not much better. Last season, man. Last season, and
it's literally just a 2x4 on the wall with nails for you to hang your stuff up.
Yeah, actually, remember the ones at Extreme? Exactly. That was it.
2x4 and nails. That's it.
Honestly, the Extremes one was great. It was spacious.
There was one, right?
Yeah. Wasn't that a bathroom? Wait, wasn't that a bathroom that the Extremes one? Or am I thinking of Inman? Inman had the 2x4s.
No, Inman had the friggin' 2x4s with plywood. That was.
I remember what Extremes look like. You're right. It was another one of those. Was it like curtains or something? Wasn't there a bathroom? I thought there was a bathroom involved.
I think there was a bathroom in each locker room.
Yeah, I think so. I thought it was a bathroom though. I thought you just got locked. Like I don't know. I can't remember anymore. It's been so long. I mean, talk about Extremes.
Whatever. It's better than the piece of shit they have at the Coliseum. I'm sure.
Well. It's the last season you guys can make fun of the Coliseum, so.
No, and it's good. The Rangers have 4 more games on the island this year, so that's encouraging. That's great. That's wonderful.
All right, so that's my spiel this week on the styles and the shitty locker room. Speaking of shitty locker rooms,
yeah, I was waiting for that. The Rangers get to play the Islanders 5 more times this year. 4 away, 1 at home. And if you look at the Rangers' schedule, they go to Buffalo for the next 2 games. Yay! Well, careful what you wish for, right? They play them on Thursday and Saturday. After the game Saturday, when they come home on the 4th and they play the Penguins on the 6th, they will not play another game more than 35 minutes away from Madison Square Garden until May 6th and 8th when they go to Boston.
And that's like the last 2 games of the season.
Last 2 games of the season. So they home against Pittsburgh, then they go to the island, then they have that crazy series with the Devils, then the Islanders again, and then they got like a 5-game homestand with Philly, Buffalo, and the Islanders. Then they go to the island, home against the Caps in Boston. So they have the luxury of sleeping in their beds for almost the entire month of April and the first part of May. So could they potentially make a run? It's look, as I said, it's not going to be because they're not playing well. I think they're in position right now, and they're playing really, really well. But if you look at Boston and their schedule and the games in hand, they have 3 games in hand. They're up by 5 points with 3 in hand. I mean, that's 11 points in this day and age. I get it. You can make it up, and they can make up 8 points in the last 2 games of the regular season. I have a hard time seeing that right now. And if that is the case, look, I understand that you want to make a push, you want to do it. That's fine. But if you're not, trade for assets, play the kids as much as possible. If they're not going to make the playoffs.
You say they got the games in hand, but it also means that they're playing a much more compressed schedule than the Rangers are too. So that might work against them. Yeah, they've got 3 games in hand, but they're playing every other night.
Look, I was hoping the COVID bug would hit them a little harder. That would have been nice. Look, I wish that on no team except the Flyers, but
fuck the Flyers.
Fuck the Flyers.
Fuck the Flyers.
But like it's a monumental task. However you look at it, it's a monumental task, and to try and even catch Pittsburgh at that point, even if they lose Jari for the rest of the year or until 2027, it's just a little too much to overcome right now just because of their start. And that's what we talked about at the beginning.
Not that he wishes that on anyone.
No, absolutely not. Not that, and this is something that we talked about when we were making our season predictions. If you fall behind early, it's going to be really, really hard to catch up late. And that's exactly where the Rangers are right now. They don't have the number of games to make up. Even if it was a regular season, it would be really, really hard for them to do. So that's point number 1. Point number 2, Brendan Lemieux traded to the Los Angeles Kings for a 4th-round pick. I am shocked as hell that we got such a return for Brendan Lemieux. It's unbelievable. He just wore out his welcome in New York. He wasn't the player that they envisioned him to be. They envisioned him to be the Tanev. They envisioned him to be a Tom Wilson type. He's just not that player. For whatever reason. He gets under the other team's skin, but he's also a liability out there with taking penalties. Rooney did us no favors taking a very early penalty tonight, but he's nowhere near the level that Brendan Lemieux was. So see you later, Brendan. Enjoy LA. And again, the Rangers Twitterverse has got to calm down. Chuck Knobloch did a tremendous job while David Quinn was away, but DQ did all the game planning. He had conversations. He set up the strategies. He did everything and literally put the game on a silver platter for Chuck Knobloch to coach the game. Sure, he's still got to coach the game. I get it, but still David Quinn who made all that possible. And
what are people saying that Quinn should be fired?
They want Chuck Knobloch to be the coach because he got the team to a 9-0 win against the Flyers, an 8-3 win against the Flyers,
Classic
and it went on a 4-2 run.
Fans.
Now it's time to bring in Chuck Knobloch and say goodbye to DQ. Listen, David Quinn, and I said before the season, we made mention of maybe coaches who could be on the hot seat. David Quinn is not one of those guys, and if you think he is, I mean, you got to check yourself and just get over it because he's here at least through the end of next season. At the end of next season, I think you reevaluate, but he's here to develop these kids for the remainder of this year and all of next year.
And then you bring in Mike Keenan, right?
Is he still alive?
I honestly don't know. At that point, I'll let you know at the end of next year.
Nancy McKeon? Maybe you bring in Nancy McKeon instead.
Joe from Facts.
Well, but I mean, look, Chuck Knobloch did a great job. I don't know what kind of job he did in Philadelphia when he was the head coach down there, but he's the head coach in Hartford. He's developing. He runs the same system down there, so it was a real easy transition, right, for him to come up from Hartford. But kudos to you, Chuck Knobloch. You did a great job while you're here. Last point is, I know for the past 2 weeks I've been gushing over Artemi Panarin, the bread man, Billy, right?
No.
This week, I'm going to shift to the NHL's number 1 star of the week, and that is Adam Fox. He is now 3rd in the league in points by defenseman. The last 5 games, he has 12 points, a goal, and 11 assists for +6. Only Tyson Barrie of Edmonton, who's played 2 more games than he has. This is before tonight's game where he had, I think, a goal and an assist. And Victor Hedman were the only 2 players above him. And look, I was really concerned about Adam Fox having that sophomore slump, second-year hangover, whatever you want to call it. This year was one of my biggest fears. He is, without question, taken a proper step forward. And Carp, friend of the show, did an interview. I don't know how much friend of the show, but it's always good to name drop. He did an interview with Brian Leach, and Brian Leach just gushed over the play of Adam Fox and how he could be developing into not Brian Leach, but a star in his own right. I think Adam
Brian Leach was gushing about him. He was like, whoa. He's not me. But he's good.
me. Did he ever win the Conn Smythe? Did he ever win the Norris? No. Did he score 23 goals his rookie season? No. He's not me. But I'm insanely jealous of Adam Fox because he gets text from Brian Leach. So I'm insanely jealous. But how good has Adam Fox been? He's been tremendous. Better than advertised. When you get to watch a player for the entire season, you have more of an opinion of that player than maybe a team that you may not like. You look at other defensemen that are currently in the league. Even you look at Ty Smith on the Devils, who from what I see is playing really great hockey and is going to be a tremendous defenseman. And I see the same thing in Adam Fox. I think as highly of Adam Fox as Devils fans thinks as highly as Ty Smith.
Justifiably so.
And they're great in their own right. And again, it's just great for the rivalry that for the next, hopefully 13 to 15 years, we have the two premier defensemen in the NHL going against each other 6 to 8 times a year. Fucking awesome. Can't wait for that. But Adam Fox is slowly becoming one of my favorite players in the NHL. Those are my 4 points. Good riddance.
You hear that, fanatics? Send this guy a Fox shirtsy.
Shirtsy? Is that what
that's what they're called? Yes.
Yeah,
shirtsy.
Well, I ordered a Panarin reverse retro from our friends over in China, and we'll see $33, and I should have it by Memorial Day.
Of next year.
We'll see when it gets here and what kind of condition it is and how they screwed it up.
And now the feds are going to know that you ordered from them, and they're gonna intercept your mail. Good job.
It's actually a Winter Classic game worn reverse retro for Panarin.
Wow, I'm jealous. I only have a Winter Classic Crosby game worn.
Going back to what Billy said before, this plus minus thing with Ristolainen, you got to see this list. I mean, I put in the chat, yeah, Alexander Daig is on the list too. He's a career minus 176. Alexander Daig, 616 games.
He was cute though.
Kelly Bookberger is on this list. That's a name I didn't think I would see on this list, and that's Kelly Bookberger. I thought he was a very defensive-minded, very sound guy playing with Edmonton all those years. Minus 177. Mike Sillinger, former Islander, minus 191. Ooh. It's staggering. This list is certainly funny. Rasmus Ristolainen is on this list. He's like 25th. He's not even close to anywhere near the shittier players.
Well, I mean, you got to start looking at, like, you know how like they say, Crosby is 8th, the fastest to this many points. You know,
right?
Ristolainen is still writing his story. He how fast can he get to minus 290?
Well, look, he's played 520 games, and Bob Stewart played 577 and did minus 257. I think Bob Stewart's got a leg up on him. He's the Wayne.
He is the Wayne Gretzky of minus players.
No question about it.
You better watch out, though. Ovi's coming for that. Ovi's coming for that record.
I don't think for the minus record. Ovi's
it was a joke, buddy.
Oh, okay, good. Ovi's like a plus 83 for his career.
Just know that you can celebrate the fact that the New York Mets are bringing back the black jerseys for a limited number of games this year.
That's great.
Is it great?
I have no opinion. Fuck the Mets.
Baseball, Nick sure doesn't care.
I couldn't give a shit.
Well, yeah. Well, Nick, who's the team down there? Are you watching Durham Bulls? What are you doing?
I'd root for the Mets, but I stopped watching baseball forever ago.
Oh, sorry. So we talk about
that's a long time ago.
Yeah, 2001 or 2, done. Ever since since you started taking
steroids, and then you realized they were banned.
Steroids, I was like, this is not.
You're
good.
like, I can't make Major League. If I take these steroids, fuck it. I'm not gonna watch anymore.
Yeah,
2001's forever ago. I mean, I was already 42 years old. Good Lord.
Wow.
And Jesus, so that would have made me 42 now? In 3 weeks, right?
Yeah. So I wanted to. One thing, Tom, I was looking at this tweet on against different defensemen with this is from March 28th, so it was a couple days ago. But it's the wins above replacement the WAR, some advanced statistic.
Advanced statistic.
I have to actually
get this now with Nick. You need another jingle. Holy shit.
I'm not gonna go.
Billy, that's 2 jingles. 2 jingles.
But at the top of the list, Adam Fox went, and number 2 and 3, Adam Pelech, Ryan Bullock. Number 4, Devon Taves. And I was devastated. I was like,
the one that got away.
And so of course I went right to the Avalanche, message boards. I'm looking up there, and they're all very, very happy they've gotten him for 2 seconds this year. And I'm like, God damn it, those guys are fucking. They've got like Cale Makar, they got Devon Taves, they got another guy. They're all playing Gerard, yeah, that's the guy. They've been playing like all 3 of them have been playing lights out this year. And it sucks, man.
Nauseating.
Poor Nick.
Sucks.
Poor Nick. He never got his prom date with Never got his prom date with Taves.
No.
That Joe Sakic is a good GM.
Yeah. But throughout the list was Charlie McAvoy, Tanev in the Calgary, and Jonas Brodin.
I knew it wasn't my Tanev.
But I found it interesting. I was like, that's a lot of East Coast Metro guys. Four Metro guys, 1 previous Metro guy. So
Mass Mutual, we're sponsored, Nick.
Mass Mutual, whatever.
All right, guys, for our turning legal show, I think it was a stellar show. Well done. It's going to do it for us tonight. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter @friends_. Maybe we should check. Do we have any followers on our Twitter? Do we have any followers? I mean, I follow us. Is that it?
We're looking at it. If we're not looking at it, then we don't know who's following.
Who's running this thing?
Who's running? Who's in charge of our marketing?
Jesus.
Jesus is my marketer.
Steve, are you in charge of this thing?
We got 5 followers.
Really?
Is it 4 of us and Mom?
Yeah, it's 4 of us.
My
and
mom?
Wait, dude, the Friends and Rivals podcast.
Did I follow?
Friends and Rivals.
I didn't mean to.
That would make 5.
No.
Want to shout out to the Wobbly Elm and Scott Cantalupo, who both follow us.
I went to high school with Scott. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Scott. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you, pal. So at @friends_rivals on the Twitter. When you're on the shitter, check the Twitter.
Special shout out to Frank Troy as well, who I know is a big fan of the podcast.
Don't forget to go on the Facebook and even YouTube Friends and Rivals podcast. When you're on YouTube, don't forget to click, comment, and share. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Also, give us a rating while you're on there, because it really will help our show a lot. I got nothing fucking witty. Anybody? Come
There's
on!
grass on the field.
Witty.
There's grass on the field. It's 18. Let's play ball.
Oh, my friends and rivals. Flyers fuck, flyers fuck, flyers fuck off. Flyers fuck, flyers fuck.